Hello everyone, welcome back to Crafts by the Bow. This is our Simple Sunday project for today, and I'm going to use one of the cards that I made for my stamper stack. Now this weekend I had lots of ladies who came round and we each made 12 cards, and you stamp a stack of cards, that's where the name comes from. And this was one of the designs that I chose to make. And I used the little Snowman season set, which is a photopolymer set and is a really easy one to use because you can see right through the photopolymer. As you can see, we used it last night with a lot of reds and blues, so the stamp is a little bit stained, but that staining doesn't come off at all. So it's actually the sign of a good quality photopolymer when it will stain with the stamp. Now, this card is actually made to open this way, but today I'm going to make it so that it opens just this way. So the card is just cut differently from this orientation. So to start off with, I've got my base of Night of Navy with little Whisper White inside, excuse me, and I've also got another piece of Whisper White which fits on the front, but we're going to punch a couple of little holes in it first. And I've got my 2-inch punch, and all I'm doing is I'm going to put the card in as far into the punch as it will go and line it up on the right hand side and just punch. And I keep in this piece because we're going to stamp on it. And then to get it exactly the same but at the other side, you can put it in and line it up at the left hand side and punch, or if you prefer you can turn it over and put it in and line it up at the right again. It makes it exactly the same. Let's get that straight. And you end up with this, and this piece is going to go on the front of our card, but we need just a little piece of the designer series paper here. And I'm using the Let It Snow, and I've got lots of little pieces. So on my first card, I used this, like the Coastal Cabana with the little white dots on. But this time I'm using a piece of the Snowman one, and it's got the glittery snowman on the back, and I'm using the red and white stripe side. So I'm just going to add that to my card. And what I did was I cut just one 12-inch strip. And you only need 5.5, well, actually just a little bit less than 5.5, it'd be 5 1/4 for this. Let's turn it over that way. So you end up with a piece left over. And what I did with the piece left over was I've popped it on my envelope, just to give my envelope a little bit of design. Okay, and then this piece we're going to attach to the front, and you see that I'm using my wet glue. Excuse me, I got a tickle in my cough, a tickle in my throat. Okay, so I'm using wet glue because this is what we had out for Stamper Stack, and it just means it was easier for my ladies to attach something, and if it wasn't quite straight, you've got that few seconds of wiggle room where you can move the card just to wherever you want. It just makes it a little bit easier. Okay, so that's the base of our card now. Now remember those 2 pieces that we cut out? Those pieces we're going to stamp our snowmen on. I don't know if that's a little bit of black there. Let's put it on the back instead. And I'm going to use Night of Navy. And I'm using 2 of the snowmen. I'm using this little one and this one here. I'm just going to stamp one of each, one on each piece. I should really have another little piece of scrap underneath. Let me just take one of my old sheets out. Okay. Okay, so I'm just going to ink that up again. And I'm putting as much of the snowman on as I can, but still including the little snowflakes and things. So, there. And then, where's my other little circle gone? Then with the other snowman, I'm going to do just the same. You won't get all of the snowman on this 2-inch circle, but that's fine. Doesn't matter. And again, I'm doing it so that I've got the little snowflakes coming down and just part of the snowman. And while I'm here, I'm going to use a little piece of scrap and I'm going to stamp the Let It Snow. You need just a little piece of Whisper White. I'll just get a piece of white out. Okay. And I'm just going to stamp it. I know I'm going to cut it out with a punch, so I'm not going to stamp it right at the bottom. Oh, that's a little bit smudged. I don't like that one. Let's just turn it round. I think maybe the stamp needs cleaning. It may have just a little bit of fluff. Oh, it did. Had a little bit of lint or something on it. But that's okay. Just make sure it's dry. I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to just stamp on the back. Now that little bit of fluff has gone, it should stamp much nicer. Yeah, that's better. And that's all the stamping done. There's just 3 little stamps to do. 2 snowmen and a Let It Snow. Okay. So while we've got these little snowmen, I'm just going to use my dark pumpkin pie blender pen. And the only piece I'm colouring is their little noses. Now, if you wanted to colour more and you wanted to colour, well, let's colour them. If you wanted to colour like the little scarf in, what have I got here? Dark real red. That would actually match the DSP that we've got as well. So just colouring those little bits on his hat and his scarf. There. And if you wanted to do shading on the snowmen, a good colour to use would be something like the pool party, the light pool party. Let me just stamp you another one and then you can see what I mean. Let's find the other snowman. Nope, actually he's better. So if you wanted a little bit of shading or a little bit of colour, I know this one's still a little bit wet, but use the light pool party and just go round just at the sort of the left hand side of him, and you just put a little bit of colour like this, and that just gives you that tiny little bit of shading. So if you want to do shading on your snowman, that's a great colour to use. And in fact, one of the other cards that we made, we did do a lot of that kind of shading. Okay, now let me see where I've put my other Night of Navy. There it is. Because I need to use the Starburst punch to cut out a Night of Navy piece. And then I'm going to use my 1 3/4 inch punch to cut out the little bit that we did for Let It Snow. You could use any size punch. You can see this is actually a bit big, but I want it to go on my Starburst punch. You could use your layering circles, your dies and framelets, anything that you've got. It doesn't have to be these ones. Okay, and then I'm going to use on the back of each of these, I'm going to put a little bit of my dimensionals. Just adding a couple to the back. And I'm going to pop him up just in the little hole where that circle came from. And it just gives you that little bit of dimension and makes it look like the whole card is popping out. Just put a couple on here and do exactly the same. I love this one. It looks like he's playing in the snow. Okay, and then for the sentiment here, I'm going to just put glue on the back and stick it onto our starburst shape. And I'm going to pop this up as well, but I don't want to have dimensionals so that it's on top of these snowmen. I only want to have it in this bottom half so that it's the same height as the snowmen. So I'm just looking carefully and I know that this is the area that I need to put the dimensionals. So I'll pop that there. Just make sure it's sort of centered and it's over a little bit of your DSP as well. And then last of all, I have some of the basic adhesive sequins, and I'm just going to use the white ones. I'm just going to pop 5 on. Whoops. Let's take that off. Just going to put 5 little ones on. Should really use my pokey tool or my pickup tool. That would be better, rather than me getting them with my fingers. Now I'm just sort of putting them randomly. If you have the little snowflakes, you could put the little snowflakes on each of these little dots of snow as well. And that's it. If you wanted to do a little bit more stamping, you could stamp another little snowman inside. But that's my simple Sunday. But look how pretty it is. It's a cute little card. So thank you very much for joining me. And I don't know if you know that I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers on my YouTube. And as it stands today, I'm at 936. So thank you to all those people who have recently joined me. I think I've had 108 people in the last 28 days, which is absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much, everybody. If you haven't subscribed yet and you'd like to, just press the subscribe button. And if you want to be notified when I add a video, which is usually a Wednesday and a Sunday, then all you do is press the little bell and it will tell you as soon as I've uploaded. I don't have a set time that I upload my videos. They're just usually a Wednesday and Sunday at some time. So thank you again for all of your support. I really do appreciate it. And I'll see you all again soon. Bye-bye.